Today we're doing a head to toe flow where we will be stretching just a little bit of everything. Let's get started on our mats in child's pose. Big toes to touch, knees out wide. Really try to get those fingertips up towards the front of the mat and then sink down, pulling the hips toward the back of the mat. We're going to take a few deep breaths here to get ourselves ready for practice. Take a deep inhale through the nose and let it go. Whatever you're needing for practice today, breathe that in and let it out. Really try to root those fingertips back towards the front of the mat, sinking the hips just a little bit lower towards the feet, trying to relax into this pose. And one more breath. Very good. Now let's come forward into a prone position. So we're coming down onto the belly. Doing whatever's comfortable with your hands, letting your head just relax. You're gonna bend at the knees and then bring the feet over to the left and to the right. Now, I usually call these windshield wipers when we are on our bottom. So I guess you could call this a type of windshield wiper. Really just loosening up the legs and the hips. And one more time to the left and to the right. And then bring them back to center. Laying them straight, we're going to do some leg lifts. So bringing the left leg up, bringing the toes back towards the shin and letting it down. And then the right side. Just doing a couple of these lifts on each side. Remember to keep your breath, keep your slow inhales and exhales. And last one each side. Very good. Now, hands down by your ribs, push up into plank. And let's hold this for just a second to check our form, making sure that our wrists are directly below the shoulders. And then bringing the left leg up to the outside of the left hand. We're gonna sit here in lizard. This is really gonna open up through the hips, working on the inside muscles, making sure that they're nice and stretched and limber. Now, the point of this pose is obviously to open up through the hips, but we don't want to guard. So what I mean by that is we really want to try to relax and sink, meaning our hips are pulling down towards the floor. So on each inhale, lengthening through the spine, pulling through the crown of the head toward the front of the mat. And then on the exhale, see if you can just relax and sink those hips a little bit further down towards the ground. One more breath. Very good. Now let's bring the right foot up outside the right hand and sit down into Malasana or a yogi squat. I'm going to sit here and hold for just a minute. If you feel like a dynamic movement better suits you, by all means, feel the movement or just sit static. Whatever's working for you. Once again, really opening up through the hips. Be sure that we're keeping that tall spine, really good posture. And whatever pressure you have between your elbow and your knee, it needs to be equal. So our elbow is not just ramming into the knee, and our knee isn't just pushing into the elbow. Now on the inhale, let's plant the right hand down and bring the left hand on back for a yogi twist. On those exhales, try to get a little bit further back, get that left hand Maybe looking back a little bit further. And on the inhale, back to center. And exhale, plant the left hand and swing it on back. Try not to leave that right knee falling inward since it doesn't have an arm to support it. Still very active and keeping it open. And on your next inhale, back to center. Now inhale the sitting bones up. We're gonna have a forward fold. Make sure that your feet are still about mat distance apart. We're not moving them around. If you need to bring the floor a little bit closer to you, just grab those blocks. You need some support in this first forward fold. Now, can you let go of the hands and find a clasp behind your back, sealing those palms together, pulling those shoulder blades closer together, really leading with the chest down towards the ground. If this is too much for you, just micro bend those knees just a little bit. And now can you bring that bind off of the back, lean forward just a little bit further, release the head, try and relax. One more breath. Now, ever so gently, release that bind. Put the hands on the ground, on your blocks, whatever you need. And we're really gonna stretch in through the rhomboids. The rhomboids are that muscle in between the spine and the shoulder blades. And how we're gonna do that is we're really gonna push the floor away. You should feel your shoulder blades sort of separate, actively pushing the floor away, stretching the shoulder blades. If you would like, you can sort of lean forward, putting a lot of your weight into the hands, like you would for an arm balance. Just be sure that you are pushing through the thumb and index side of the hand. One more breath here. Very good. Now hands can come back a little bit closer to the feet. Let's go ahead and step that left foot back so we can do our right-sided lizard. So foot should still be on the outside of the right hand. Remember that tall spine. And on the exhale, we're trying to pull those hips just a little bit closer to our mat. One more breath. Now, let's send the right foot back to the left and come into our first downward facing dog. If you need, walk out the dog just a little bit. Maybe you're just swaying the hips left and right, doing whatever's comfortable for you. Just be sure you're still pushing in through the thumb and index side of the hand, really actively pushing the floor away. And then energy through the thighs or the sitting bones toward the back of the mat. On your next inhale, let's look up towards our hands. And exhale, step up to our hands. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat spine. And exhale, breathe it out, let it go. Rooting through those feet, inhaling our hands up overhead. And then exhale, finding our first mountain. On your next inhale, let's lift the hands high up overhead. And exhale, sit back into chair. Be sure to engage the abs, tuck in the hips if you need. And then we're gonna add a little bit of a curtsy. So let's bring that right leg up and cross it over the left. You can kind of use your right toes like a little bit of a kickstand, but we're not putting a lot of weight in the toes. Sort of a balancing act here. Still remaining strong in through that left foot. Very good. One more inhale. And then exhale, let's uncurtsy the legs and then step that right foot back, leaving the heel up. We're going to find crescent. So sink a little bit deeper, make sure that front knee is over the front ankle and our toes should be pointing forward. Now our goal is to get that back heel just a little bit closer to the ground. We don't need to be up on our tiptoes. So let that heel try to sink toward the mat. On our next inhale, let's really root through the spine all the way up, sending our energy all the way up through the spine towards the ceiling, tall spine. And then exhaling, we are going to turn to the left, swinging our arms out at the sides. This is a crescent twist. Sit here for one more breath in and out. Very good. Now tall spine. We're going to plant the right hand down by the left foot. Really try to see if you can get that shoulder open up just a little bit further here. If you would like, maybe your left hand is getting tired, you can just set it on your lower back. Just still rotating through the chest, through the collarbones, maybe even looking up towards the ceiling. Okay, from here, let's plant the left hand and push back into downward facing dog. Now we've been working with that right foot, so let's bring the right foot up and then bring it over just a little bit so we can get a hip opener here. You're gonna feel that stretch really in through the legs, still staying strong through the arms. Now bring that right foot on through. We want our heels in and our toes out as we face the side of the mat, rising up into goddess. Really try to sink into this pose. It's very strong, very good for the quads, working on our strength as well as stretching. And on our next inhale, we are going to sink over to the left for Skandasana or just a side lunge. You're welcome to keep your foot planted. If it feels better, lift that right foot so that the toes are up towards the ceiling. I feel a really good stretch in through the inside of the thigh here, working on those adductors. Be sure to keep that chest up. Chest up, chin up. And then let's plant the hands down, walk to the front of the mat. And before you bring the foot back, let's just sit here in a runner's lunge for just a moment. Keeping that right foot in between the left and right hand. Making sure that we're not going too far, that our knee is going over the toes. So if you need to readjust your foot here just a little, by all means, please do so. Now let's bring the right foot back to the left, and we're gonna roll the heels over to the left, coming into side plank. Be sure to really lift those hips up, pushing the floor away with that left hand. Option to always stack the feet. And let's bring it on down. Right hand down, downward facing dog. Let's inhale, look up at our hands, and exhale, step up. Inhale, halfway rise, and exhale, release. Inhale, root to rise, hands up overhead. And then let's go right into it on the next side. So sitting back into our chair. If that curtsy chair worked for you last time, let's do the left side. So bring the left foot up. Option to use it like a little bit of a balancing stand, but remember, we're not putting a lot of weight there. One more breath. Inhale, let's rise up. And exhale, stepping back into crescent. Once again, let's check our posture. Those front toes are facing the front of the mat. Our knee is tracking through the front of that foot. It's not extending over the toes, and that back heel is trying to make its way down toward the mat. Now let's inhale that tall spine, and then exhale over to the right. We are twisting. Arms can come out at the sides. Now inhaling that tall spine, but exhaling, trying to turn a little bit further to the right. One more breath. Now let's inhale, bringing that left hand down by the right foot. Remember to keep the shoulders going up and backwards, trying to deepen the twist. Option to always bring that hand down and set it in the small of your back if it's getting tired. Now bringing the right hand down by the right foot, let's come back into our downward facing dog. And this time, let's lift the left foot up and swing it around, opening up through the hips. Very nice. Now let's bring it on through, and remember, heels in, toes out as we spin to the side of the mat for our goddess pose. Coming up, finding your pose, and then trying to sink and sit back into this squat. Very good. Now you can always keep it a little bit dynamic if you'd like to sort of move around, keep it flowing, or just stay in one spot. But whatever you're doing, let's come down into our side lunge. Remember, options here, keep your foot down or bring the toes up, whatever is most comfortable for you and your body. Keeping the chest and chin lifted. Should be feeling a stretch in through that left leg, the left adductors. One more breath. Now bringing the hands down to help you come up to the front of the mat. Make sure those toes are facing forward. I'm going to sit here in a runner's lunge for just a moment. Just a couple deep breaths. Now bring the left foot back to meet the right and shift the heels over to the right for a side plank. Remember the option to stack the feet, or you can keep them staggered. Lift those hips, pushing the floor away. Very good. Left hand down. And let's come down onto all fours into a tabletop position. So checking our posture, again, wrists are under the shoulders, knees should be directly below the hips. We're gonna do a few bird dogs here. So a bird dog is when you are using opposite hand and leg. So this first one, we're going to bring the right hand out. Pinkies should be down, thumbs are facing the ceiling. And then lifting the left leg up. Now remember, you always have the option to keep things dynamic. If you want to keep it a little fluid, maybe you want to do a couple crunches, whatever is best for you. Otherwise, let's just hold it here. Energy through that back heel. Very good. Plant the right hand, and then keep that left foot out there, spinning the right knee out to the side, coming up, and then lifting that hand up overhead. Pinkies are down, getting a little bit of a side body stretch here. Can always look up towards the ceiling, See if you can rotate just a little bit further, opening up through the chest. All right, let's plant the hand down and come into a seated position. We'll keep that right leg bent, bringing the left leg out in front of us for a seated tree. So bringing the hands up if you'd like, leading with the chest towards the foot. And once again, this is another great spot where if you would like some blocks, sometimes it helps keep your chest lifted just a little bit further. Really trying to get that even stretch in through the hamstrings. Make sure those toes are facing your heart. From here, if you're using those blocks, just set them aside. We're going to come back into a modified wild thing. So leave that knee down. Bring that right hand back and lift the hips. Bring the left hand kind of up and overhead. Always love a good wild thing. Just a beautiful back bend. And then let's gently sit the sitting bones back down and coming into tabletop once more. Once here, let's bring that left hand up and that right foot goes back. Energy through the heel. Holding this bird dog, be sure that you are really engaging the core, so really kind of tucking the hips, lifting the belly button. Then plant the left hand, keep that right leg straight, spin the left foot out, hand comes up and overhead. Pinkies are down, feeling that side body stretch here. Now plant the right hand and let's come back into that seated position. So bringing that bent left leg forward, straight right leg, seated tree. Inhale that tall spine and leading with the heart. Very good. Now rise up, bring that left hand behind you, keeping that left knee bent, lifting the hips, modified wild thing. Try to lift just a little bit higher before letting go. Nice job, you guys. Let's come down into a bit of a cool down. So really kind of come into a little ball, really rounding the spine. And now let's rock on down into a figure four. So let's start with the left knee bent, and we're going to bring the right ankle to the left knee first. For some people, this is enough of a stretch here. You can always try to push that right knee away, or even bring the left knee up and closer to you. Now, if you've lifted that left leg, plant it. Plant your hands down at your side, and let's lift the sitting bones for a figure four bridge. Now this requires a little bit of balance. And you don't necessarily need to get your body in a completely straight line. If you're a little bit bent, no worries. Now we'll put the sitting bones down and bring that right foot and the lower body over to the left for a twist. Now here, be sure that that right shoulder is still planted on the ground. If that means that you have a smaller twist, then so be it. Now on your next inhale, bring that lower body back to center. And let's switch it out. So put the right foot down, left ankle comes up, finding whatever variation works best for you. We did a lot of inner hips, inner thighs. So now we are working on the outer. All right, now let's find that balance. Plant those arms down at your sides and let's lift the sitting bones for a very short figure 4 bridge. Now let's set the sitting bones down, bring that left foot and the lower body over to the right. Always love a good twist. They feel like they're just wringing out your insides. Very energizing. Next inhale, let's bring the lower body back to center. And let's find a very comfortable corpse pose. So bringing the palms down at your sides, palms up, maybe rolling the shoulder blades behind you just a bit further, closing down the eyes. Now, we've created some great energy through our practice today, working on every little muscle group in your body, all the way from your rhomboids, wringing out your spine, working on the hips. We've done a lot of different things today, created a lot of really good, positive energy. Let's take another deep breath in and exhale. Take one more breath together. Let it go. Thank you for joining me today in this head to toe yoga flow, where we stretched a little bit of every part of our body. May your yoga practice continue to thrive.